Prospect can be used to create a photo montage by combining a photograph of a view with the simulated trees of your woodland proposal. Having created your woodland proposal, you need to identify the spot on the map from where you have taken a photograph. Place your viewpoint on that spot and set the bearing and the field of view to approximately correspond with the photograph. Click on the Photo Montage tab. Click on the Choose Photograph button and choose your photograph. Click on the Calibrate Photograph tab. Your photograph now appears superimposed over a view of the 3D terrain model. If you set the opacity control to 100%, then all you see is the photograph. If you set it to 0, then all you see is the terrain model. Set it to some intermediate value, like 30%. And the photo appears as a semi-transparent overlay. The challenge now is to get the best match between the two images. If you are using a photograph straight from the camera, then the image type should be set to the default value of perspective image. This means that the program assumes that the image has been projected onto the flat focal plane of a camera. There is a second option, panoramic image. This is where you have merged a set of photographs to create a wide-angle panorama. However, if you use this option, success will depend on how carefully these images have been created and merged to form a smooth, perfectly horizontal panorama. For the moment, we'll stick with the perspective image. You can click and drag the image to adjust the direction and tilt. You can alter the field of view. You can alter the height of the observer to compensate for any local irregularities in the surface at the spot where the photograph was taken. And because it is hard to take a perfectly level photograph, you can use the rotation control to compensate. Remember that the terrain model describes the shape of the land, while the horizon on the photograph may well consist of the tops of trees. So do not be surprised if there is some visual discrepancy between the two horizons. When you have the best fit between the photograph and the terrain, go to the Merge page. Your woodland is now drawn on top of the photograph. Typically, as in this example, there are foreground elements in the photograph which are now obliterated by the woodland, whereas, in reality, the woodland should be behind. To compensate for this, you need to create a mask. In the bottom right of this photograph, there is a hedge with a gate and a traffic sign. We will use the zoom control to zoom in, and scroll down and across to reach this bottom right area. As you move the cursor, you'll see that there is a red circle around the cursor. This indicates the current size of the mask brush. We'll set the size a bit bigger for the initial first attempt at a mask. Now we click and drag, and as we do so, the previously obscured parts of the photo are revealed. At this stage we can be quite crude about it. If we right click, the mask tool changes to the unmask tool so that we can reinstate the image to be as it was before the mask. The circle changes from red to blue to indicate that it is now the unmask tool. We can change the size of the mask brush to do finer detail. We might zoom in around to see the detail around the gate. A few minutes' work will typically result in an adequate mask. You'll only need to do this once, since the mask is associated with the photograph, not the project. So if you alter the woodland scheme or have an alternative project, the mask will still be there. We can change the season of the image. We can also modify the colour intensity and the paleness. This affects the colours of our woodland to try and make it match better with the colours in the photograph. So if you have a very brilliant photograph, you might want brilliant colours, and vice versa. When you have everything as you want it, click on the menu button, click Save Image, give a name to the new image, the new image will be saved at the same resolution as the original photograph.